was the kind of doll no one would give a child anymore. Hand-stitched, porcelain-faced, with pale button eyes and a mouth painted into a soft smile, reeked of an era when toys weren't made to comfort, but to observe. Its Victorian dress, once white, was now the shade of old paper, and a thin crack split across its porcelain cheek, as though it had once known violence. "You bought that for Ellie?" Mia asked, eyeing the antique doll with a mixture of disgust and unease. "It's vintage," Tom said defensively, turning it over in his hands. "Came from a collector. She loves creepy stuff anyway, don't you, sweetheart?" Ellie nodded enthusiastically. Their daughter was 8 years old and already obsessed with Halloween, ghost stories, and all things spooky. She snatched the doll and cradled it like a baby. "I'll name her Miriam," Ellie whispered to it, smiling. Later that night, Mia stood at the doorway of her daughter's room, watching her sleep. The doll sat propped on a chair in the corner facing the bed. Something about it made Mia's stomach turn. Maybe it was the shadow the moonlight cast on its face, or the way the smile never seemed quite still. "Creepy little thing," she muttered, and closed the door. It was only a few days later that Ellie came down for breakfast looking troubled. "Miriam bit me last night," she said flatly. Tom chuckled. "Bit you? She's a doll, kiddo. Dolls don't bite." Mia glanced up. Ellie's finger was red, a perfect semicircle of pinpricks lining the pad. It was too symmetrical for a fingernail scratch. "Let me see that." Mia took her daughter's hand and frowned. "How did this really happen?" Ellie's eyes were blank. She didn't like the blanket over her face. I forgot and covered her by accident. That night, Mia went to the room herself and inspected the doll. Miriam sat in her usual place, unmoving, unthreatening. But when Mia tilted the doll's head back, her breath caught in her throat. Inside the painted mouth, something glinted, tiny white ridges. "Teeth!" "Tom," she called, her voice tight. "Come here." He examined it under a flashlight. "That's impossible," he murmured. She didn't have those. Porcelain dolls don't come with real teeth. "These aren't porcelain," Mia whispered. "They look human." Voices at midnight. The dreams began the same night. Mia would hear whispering, soft and childlike, drifting through the hallway. A girl's voice, barely audible but unmistakably not Ellie's. Sometimes it called her name. "Mia, Mia, I'm cold. Why did you leave me in the dark?" She would jolt awake, drenched in sweat, the room eerily quiet, and every time, without fail, Miriam would be sitting somewhere different. Once, she found the doll sitting on the windowsill, staring out into the backyard. Another night, it was on Ellie's bed, its small hands resting on her daughter's chest like it was trying to weigh her down. Mia finally confronted Ellie. "Sweetheart, are you moving Miriam around at night?" Ellie looked at her like she was crazy. "No, Mama, she moves herself." The video. Tom set up a hidden camera in the room. "Just to prove to ourselves it's nothing," he said. "It's probably Ellie sleepwalking, moving the doll without knowing." The footage the next morning told a different story. At exactly 2:13 a.m., the doll twitched. Then it turned its head slowly, unnaturally, and smiled. Not the painted smile. The lips curled back. The teeth, rows of them, gleamed in the darkness. Its mouth opened wide and closed and mimicking speech. But the room was silent. Then the doll climbed off the chair, its limbs jerking in marionette-like spasms, and walked toward Ellie's bed. Tom stopped the video there. "I'm burning it," he said hoarsely. "No," Mia said. "We have to know what it is first, where it came from." They returned to the antique shop, but the place was gone. Not closed. Gone. The windows were boarded up, and a rusted for sale sign hung crookedly on the door. The only thing left was a single newspaper clipping nailed to the frame, yellowed and brittle. It was an obituary. Miriam Whitlock, age 9, died 1891. Survived by no immediate family. Remains lost in a fire that destroyed the Whitlock home. Body never recovered. V, the mouth that grows. Miriam's mouth began to change. The teeth grew longer, sharper. Mia could see them now, even when the mouth was closed, forcing the porcelain to crack along the cheeks. It was as if the human inside was trying to force its way out of the shell. Ellie grew quiet. Her skin became pale. She began sleeping more during the day and staying awake all night, sitting in her bed with Miriam. "She talks to me now," Ellie said, her voice distant. "She tells me about the fire, about how it hurt, about her real mommy who left her behind." Tom tried to throw the doll into the garbage that night. But the next morning, it was sitting back in Ellie's room on the chair, mouth slightly open, more teeth than before. That night, Mia found her husband sleepwalking. He was holding the doll in both hands like a baby and whispering into its cracked ear. "She's hungry," he murmured. "She needs more bones. The teeth in the walls." Scratching began. At first, they thought it was mice, but the sounds didn't come from below. It came from inside the walls, high up near the ceiling. Gnashing, grinding, a constant clicking of teeth. Mia opened a vent one day and nearly vomited. Inside was a mouth. Dozens of tiny teeth gnashing in fleshy pink gums. It vanished when she screamed, but the image stayed with her, the shape of a doll's smile, too wide for reality. Soon, other things changed. The pictures on the wall began to tilt slightly, always toward Miriam. Clocks stopped ticking at 2:13 a.m. Ellie began losing hair. Then one morning, they found her bleeding from the mouth. "She kissed me," Ellie said softly, "to thank me." Mia finally made the decision to burn the doll. She didn't tell Tom. He had grown strange, distant. He spoke less, and when he did, it was in riddles. He muttered about feeding the house and how she would be whole again. Mia waited until night, snuck into Ellie's room, and took the doll. Miriam felt warm in her hands. She drove 20 miles out into the woods and lit a fire pit, tossing the doll into the flames. It screamed, not in the way porcelain cracks or burns, but a high-pitched human wail like a child in agony. Smoke poured out, black and oily, swirling upward like a face forming from ash. The mouth opened, and teeth fell like hail onto the grass. Then silence. Mia stood shaking in the embers, tears streaming down her face. She went home, exhausted, hollow. But Miriam was back the next morning, sitting at the kitchen table, a fork in one hand, a child's jawbone in the other. Mia and Ellie fled. They drove for hours, not knowing where to go. Every hotel they stopped at was full. Every roadside inn turned them away, as if something was warning them off. And then they saw the house. It looked like their home. Same shape, same porch, but the wood was older, rotting. Windows stared like empty sockets. The door was open. "Mommy," Ellie said, pointing. "That's where she lives now." Mia turned. "No, baby, that's not our house. That's not." Ellie was already walking toward it. Inside, the house smelled of burnt sugar and blood. The wallpaper was made of skin. The stairs creaked under Mia's feet like bones snapping. And in the nursery at the top of the stairs, there were hundreds of dolls, all with teeth. They chattered and snapped as Mia entered, but none moved. In the center sat a throne of limbs and hair, and on it, Miriam. Not porcelain anymore, flesh. Her smile stretched from ear to ear, lips cracked with dried blood. Her eyes blinked now, moist, childlike, dead. "Give me my mommy," Miriam said in a voice like broken music. Ellie walked forward without fear. "I am." IX, the truth. Mia woke in a hospital. She had been found by hikers, alone and screaming in a burned-out mansion. The police told her there was no sign of a child. No dolls. Only ash, soot, and a single human jawbone. She was deemed unstable. They said it was a breakdown, hallucination, grief-induced psychosis. But at night, the nurses heard her whispering, "She has my daughter. She has Ellie. She's making more." They never let her leave. Mia's fingernails are chewed to the bone now. She says she hears clicking in the vents, scratching in the floors. She says it won't stop until Miriam finds another mother. One nurse didn't believe her. She brought Mia a gift one night. "A donation from a visitor," she said. "Thought it might comfort you." Wrapped in tissue paper was a doll. Handmade. Porcelain. Its mouth was closed, but something pressed against the lips from behind. A bulge. A pressure. Like teeth trying to grow through.